Late one night, Emily moved into her new apartment. It was exactly what she could afford: cheap, tiny, and tucked away at the end of a long, dimly lit hallway. The building was old, creaking with age, and a strange silence seemed to swallow every sound. As she dragged the last of her boxes inside, she noticed how much colder the apartment was compared to the hallway. It was an unnatural chill, the kind that sinks into your bones. She shrugged it off, blaming it on old insulation, and pushed the heavy wooden door closed. It clicked shut with a sense of finality. And that's when she heard it. A whisper. It was faint, almost like the sigh of the wind rustling through leaves. But there were no trees outside her window, only a brick wall. She stood perfectly still, straining to hear. Nothing. Maybe it was just the old building settling, or pipes groaning in the walls. She tried to convince herself, her heart thumping a nervous rhythm against her ribs. She started unpacking a box of books, the mundane task a welcome distraction. But then, the whisper came again, closer this time. It was slow, shaky, and impossibly clear. It was calling her name. Millie. Ice shot through her veins. She froze, her hands hovering over a stack of paperbacks. Her eyes darted around the small living room. The windows were sealed shut. There were nowhere vents in the ceiling. She was on the top floor, and her landlord, a gruff old man, had assured her the apartment next door was vacant. It was just her, and the suffocating darkness pressing in from all sides. The whisper was inside with her, driven by a fear that was quickly turning into a terrifying curiosity. She began to follow the sound. It led her down the short, narrow hallway of the apartment, past the tiny bathroom and kitchenette. The sound seemed to be coming from the very end of the hall, from a small, unassuming door she hadn't paid much attention to before. It was a storage closet, the landlord had said. He'd made a point of telling her the key was lost ages ago, and she should never, under any circumstances, try to open it. As she got closer, the whispers grew louder, more insistent. It wasn't just her name anymore. It was a jumble of fragmented words, desperate and pleading. Her hand, trembling uncontrollably, reached for the old brass doorknob. The metal was freezing cold to the touch. A voice in her head screamed at her to turn back, to run out of the apartment and never look back. But the whispers held her captive. With a deep, shuddering breath, she turned the knob. It wasn't locked. The door creaked open on rusty hinges, revealing a pitch-black space. A wave of musty, cold air rushed out, smelling of damp earth and decay. She fumbled for her phone, turning on the flashlight. The narrow beam cut through the darkness. The room was completely empty. Bare walls, a dusty floor. Nothing. Disappointment and relief warred within her. It was all just her imagination, the strange acoustics of an old building. But then, her light caught something on the wall. She moved closer. It wasn't just one mark. The walls, the floor, even the ceiling were covered in them. Deep, frantic scratch marks. As if a trapped animal had tried to claw its way out. And then she saw the words, carved deep into the wooden door frame, right by the lock. It was a message. Don't let IT out. Her blood ran cold. She stumbled back, a scream catching in her throat. Suddenly, the whispering stopped. The silence was even more terrifying. And then, a new voice. No longer a faint whisper from the closet, but a clear, solid sound, spoke directly next to her ear. It was a smooth, chillingly polite voice. Thank you for opening the door. Before she could even react, the lights in the entire apartment flickered and died, plunging her into absolute blackness. The heavy storage room door slammed shut behind her, the sound echoing like a gunshot. The click of the lock turning sealed her fate. No one ever saw Emily again. The landlord rented the apartment out a few months later, but every now And then, late at night, the new tenants report hearing something strange. A faint, desperate whisper, seeming to come from inside the walls. A woman's voice. Help me, please, before it gets out. Again.